Okay, make sure you checked your work also. So if you forgot that part, I want you to pause again. And once you're done checking, then come on to check your work on here. Okay, so on this problem, if you were using some mental math, I would say 23 is close to 20. So if I count by 20s to get to 84, I'd go 20, 40, 60, 80. 80 is pretty close. So I'm going to check and see, would 4 groups of 23 work? I'm going to do 4 times 23. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. Oh, 4 groups is too much. So if it's not 4 groups, it must be 3 groups, because that was pretty close. Let's check. 3 groups of 23. 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 2 is 6. So I'm pretty sure it must be 3 groups, because that gets me pretty close to 84, but I can't go over. And if you use the skip counting method, so I'm going to start with 23, add 20, add 3, add 20, add 3, add, and I'm going to start actually here because the 9, it's going to go over into the next column. So I'm going to add 3. That'd be 12, which means that 6 is being turned into a 7. And then 7 adding 20 would be 92. And we're going to keep practicing this in our fluency. So don't worry if you're like, ah, what just happened? I'm going to show you maybe an easier way also after this problem. So this confirmed 92 is too much. That 4 groups is too much. It must be the 3 groups. So 23 can go into 84 3 times, which got me to 69. Let's subtract. I can't do 4 minus 9, so I'm going to take 1 away. My 8's becoming a 7, and my 4 is becoming a 14. What is 14 minus 9? I know minus 10 would be 4. That was taking away too much, so give 1 back. Must be 5. 7 minus 6 is 1. So our remainder is 15. And this seems right because it's smaller than our divisor. If this was a bigger number, and let's say we only said it went in 2 times, this would end up being 38. You can't have a remainder of 38 because that's bigger than our divisor here. Let's check our work. And again, if you haven't done this yet, I want you to pause and do that now. A rainbow. Take our number and go up and over. 23 times 3. What is 23 times 3? If you have 3 groups of 23, it'd be 9 and 6. Add our remainder. Sorry about that. Add a remainder. 9 plus 5 is 14. 6 plus 1 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. 84. Just what we started with. If you made just a silly mistake, like I know 14 minus 9 is kind of tricky for some of us. If you get this, you might want to go, so if you got 84 here, or excuse me, if you were adding your remainder and you didn't get 84, it might be because you made just a little mistake, possibly a little subtraction mistake. So if you don't get this correct, go back in and figure out where did I go wrong? And then you can double check again. Okay, so the last problem I want us to do before you go on to doing your problem set is with a bigger number. So I want to set up the problem 57 divided by 29. So if you are using mental math, this isn't as important for you because you could say, okay, 29, that's close to 30. I count by 30s, I go 30, 60. Oh, 60 is already too much. So it must just be 1 time. But if you're someone who likes the skip counting, adding by 29 can be really hard. Because, for example, this is what I would do. Okay, add 9, that would be 18, which means that's now 3. And add 2 to the 3, that would make it a 5. And then, okay, add 9 again. 9 plus 8 would be 17. That carries 1 over, that's a 6. But add 2, that's an 8. I find this really hard. But there's a simpler way. You can do your actual addition here. You're just going to have to ignore some things. So I'm going to write my 29. That's the first number. And I'm going to circle it because that is one group of 29. You would have 29. Then I'm going to show my addition below this, just like I would normally whenever I'm adding. This way, it's less in my head, so I'm less likely to make a mistake. So if I was solving now, 29 plus 29, 9 plus 9 is 18. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. There we go. This is 2 groups of 29. Now, if I want to do another group, I'm going to add 29 again. I'm going to solve just like normal. 9 plus 8 is 17. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. There we go. That would be my 3 groups of 29. And you could keep doing this as much as you need. So if I did it again, 9 plus 7 would be 16. 8 plus 2 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. There we go. So it's kind of like I'm circling every other number. I'm not counting the ones where I'm just adding the plus 29. So these are my skip counting. 29, 58, 87, 116. So just a little trick for you. Okay, your independent practice for today, there we go, is in your Blue Spine Learn book. And we are flipping to the Lesson 20 problem set. It's on page 253. 253. It's the same practice we did yesterday, just new numbers. So the directions say, again, divide, then check with multiplication. The first one is done for you. So A, they did for us. It was 65 divided by 17. Look how they wrote it. Remember, the 65 goes first with the division symbol over top. 65 divided by 17. And when they solved, they said 17 can go into 65 3 times, which got us to 51. When we subtract, we had 14 left over. Then they checked their work. There's no excuse for getting answers wrong on the exit ticket because you're checking your work. So your must-do problems for today. I would like you to solve 1D and 1E. I gave you lots of room going down because if you're not doing this problem, you can use all this space. And if you're not doing this problem, you could use all of this space. So take up your room, check your work, use whatever method you prefer for figuring out how many groups go in it. Are you going to do some mental math or are you going to do some skip counting? Either one. And then when you're ready to check your answers on these 2 problems, come on back. Bye.